Good morning and welcome to Peace Out, where we are all learning together to peace out. And we are all practicing it every single day, all day long, right? So today is no different. Today is a great day to just trust God. Today is a great day to, I've already had, Chris has kind of got some breathing, is October asthma thing, and I've already been through the prayers of, oh my God, what am I going to do? Lord, please don't let this happen. Please touch Chris. And then come all the way back full circle to, I'm just going to trust you, God. We're going to take today, however it comes, and I'm not doing it without God. That's the coolest part. He doesn't say, I don't know what you're going to do. He just says, whatever you do, whatever you get put on your plate, whatever talks to you, whatever gets put on your plate, whatever comes through your day, I'm going to be there with you. That's the cool part about God. He's just going to be there with us. He doesn't say, I don't go through those kind of problems. I'm not going to help you with those kind of problems. I'm not doing this. I don't do that. He's just like, I've got you. And that's really my week of peace out. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. No, I'm just kidding. So this week, so I hope things are good in your world, but just know that no matter what's going on, God's got you. And He's right there with you in your it, whatever your it looks like, right? So we've talked about all this week people who thought they were smarter than God, right? We kind of interpret their actions that way, why they did certain things. Were they thinking God was going to give up? Did they think God was going to change His mind? And sometimes, the guy we're going to look at this morning, I don't think he was doubting God as much as he was doubting his own self, that his own ability to be able to hear God clearly. Talk about Gideon. Gideon's one of my favorite ones. Matter of fact, he's in my leadership. He's one of the leaders we look at in the leadership manual that I wrote, that we've printed 5,000 copies of and put through Pakistan. Hopefully we'll be printing some more. We're going to need some more pretty soon, right? Anyway, so in Judges 6, we have Gideon. The angel comes and says, hey, you mighty man of valor. And he's like, who, me? I'm hiding from the Midianites. And I've said this before, but it's worth saying again. I don't think he was hiding in just fear. I think he was saying, you ain't getting my wheat today. This is my wheat. I'm going to thresh it. I'm going to hide from you. I'm going to get it. I'm going to take it home. This is my wheat, and you can't have it. You ain't getting it today. Not today, you little Midianites, right? And so God comes and says, you're going to deliver Israel. I'm going to use you to deliver Israel. So the first thing, after their little conversation here with the angel, the messenger of God, he's going, are you sure? I'm Gideon. I'm like from the smallest tribe. And it's like, I'm like the youngest in the smallest tribe. And that's like nobody. That's kind of like David, of course, David hasn't come on the scene yet, but it's kind of the same scenario here. They're the youngest of the youngest, and they didn't have the position they felt like they needed, but God used them anyway. That's a cool thing. So finally the angel gets through to Gideon. So Gideon goes and knocks down all of Baal's idols, or all the altars to Baal, right? And everybody's going, what's he doing? And so then God says, I want you to go wipe out the Midianites. Okay, we're going to go do this together. Again, he didn't send Gideon into battle by himself. He went with him. But Gideon's got some questions, and he says, okay, God, and this is in verse 36 of chapter 6, if you will deliver Israel through me as you have spoken. There's a big clue right there. If he knew God spoke, why is he putting out a fleece? And we call it putting it out a fleece. Like, okay, God, if this is really you, let 19 camels walk through the back door, or let my door fall off its hinges, or let so-and-so call me. We put these things out. We call it a fleece because of Gideon. It's all his fault we call it that, right? And so he's like, if you will deliver me, like you said. Now, if he put that like you said on there, why is he arguing? Is he doubting himself? Is he doubting God? I don't know, but he put the fleece out. He says, okay, in the morning, the dew's going to fall. Let the fleece be wet, but the ground around it dry. Woke up the next morning, and guess what? The fleece was wet, but the ground was dry. So the dew had obviously fallen, but God had protected the ground and and he's like, wow, that's awesome. It says he wrung it out and got a bowl of water out of the fleece. That's like the exclamation point on what God's already said, right? So then Gideon, the next day, he goes, okay, God, please be patient with me. Please don't get mad. But if you're really going to do what you said, tonight, let the fleece be dry and the ground be wet. And it happened just like Gideon prayed. But he wasn't even done then. Then the God was like, okay, you know what? We got one more thing. We're going to go choose 300 men, and he had him shut down a whole bunch of men down to just 300 so that they would know it was God who was doing the stuff, right? And then he still gives Gideon another sign. He goes, go down and listen to the army. And the other army, somebody had a dream, and they had interpreted a big loaf of bread rolling them all over or something like that. That's Gideon. The enemy knew Gideon was going to wipe them out. The Midianites knew Gideon was coming for them, and they believed what God said before Gideon did, right? Well, sometimes it's easier to believe for someone else than it is for ourselves, right? Because that's a lot to carry, right? Anyway, it's like, I don't know, I can trust you heard from God, but I don't know, God really speaks to me. And sometimes God speaks very, very quietly, and it's kind of this unction of, I think I probably ought to do this. We don't realize God's even leading us. And then sometimes it's like, I got to do this, and I don't even know why I'm going to do it, but it's probably God leading us, right? And so sometimes it's a simple unction. And sometimes we look back and go, wow, God was really leading me through that. I had no idea he was so involved in that process. But God's always leading us. It's just up to us to listen. But I look at this process of Gideon, what Gideon's going through. I'm like, did he think at some point God was going to go, oh, you're right. You know what? Never mind. Wrong Gideon. Wrong, you know, or I picked the wrong guy. Never mind Gideon. Never mind. No, God was so patient with Gideon. He could have just said, you know what? Just forget it. You hear me. You know you hear me, but you're doubting that. I can't work with that. He didn't get on to Gideon and say, you're doubting me? Do you not believe me? Forget it. I'm going to go find somebody else. He worked with what Gideon brought to him. That's the coolest thing about God, I think, is he works with whatever we've got on our plate. He works with however much faith we can muster up, however much trust we have for him, and how much we trust him in our situations. He can work with that. He doesn't throw us away and go, okay, never mind. I got the wrong guy, got the wrong gal. Yeah, you're right. You know, did you really think I said that? No, I didn't say it. No, that's not what I said. No, he just said, all right, Gideon, if this is the process you need to let me use you, then this is the process we're going to do. He'll work with our analytical brains even though that sometimes gets in the way, I have to say, right? And sometimes it doesn't. But he will work with whatever we have on hand. However much we trust him, however much we believe him, he will work with it. He will always want more. But when he works with what little we have, it will grow. And next time we'll hear him quicker. Next time we'll go, oh, I think this is what God's leading me to do. Well, maybe we'll try it a little quicker. Maybe we'll experiment a little more deeply, right? And think, maybe God really is in this. Maybe he is using me. Maybe he is working through me. Maybe he is keeping me. Maybe his peace really is here. Imagine that, right? God's so cool like that. He works with whatever we have, and he doesn't waste a thing. So whatever your circumstance is today, and most of the time we don't have a circumstance, we have circumstances, plural, many plural, right? Many plurals, like many plural. That's why I couldn't keep that out of my mind. But like many plurals, we've got all these things going on. God will work with whatever we will let him work with. And when we let him work, and when we say, okay, I'm going to trust you with it, that's when we can peace out. That's when the peace is there. But until we can relax that and release it into his hands and go, okay, God, I'm going to trust you. And in that moment, that peace goes, oh, there's my spot, and it worms right in there, and it goes, come on. And then we get to keep it as long as we can let it rain. That's the biggest struggle, I think, is just continuing to let it rain, because the peace doesn't fluctuate. It doesn't come and go. It is always present with us. God's got us. He loves us. He's with us. And that's why we can peace out. Peace out, you guys. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you bright and early.